Good morning. This is Cheryl with the Back to Living podcast. I want to do something a little different today. Every now and then I get where I start typing, start writing, whatever, and I write for a very long time. I just start writing. Anyway, that happened to me last night. I started writing and going through what I was going to go through on my podcast today, and it was 10:30. It's like, okay, I can do this 10-15 minutes. Well, I look up when I finish and it's 12:30. I'm not gonna, it's not that long, but if you don't mind, I'm going to read my thoughts from last night, and I will try to hurry through this, but it was a lot of my thoughts on what I normally talk about and a few other things. So if you could bear with me, I would appreciate that. Again, welcome. This is the Back to Living podcast. There's life after loss. I am Cheryl Stevens, and no, I am not a counselor, a doctor, or anything. It's just that I spent, my background is I spent 40 years in the insurance industry, but talking about what I talk about, the grief and everything, I'm a widow. I'm going through it. And I'm going to look down and read. I'm sorry, the ones that are watching, I'm going to look down and read. It says, but what I am is a fairly new widow, less than 3 years, and I've gone through nearly 3 years of grief, anger, depression, anxiety, hopelessness, being alone, and so many more emotions. And a very small part of my issues are that I got married at age 19. I moved from my daddy's house into my husband's. I have never lived alone until I lost my husband. You know, we had a few nights apart now and then for work and other things, but, you know, he was coming back and it was just a few nights. Some part of me still feels like he'll come through that door soon, and he's just been out for a while. Then reality starts seeping back in, and here we go again. I ask myself, what would Gerald think of what I'm doing now with the podcast and crafting and everything else? Would he be pleased? Would he be proud of me? Or think I need to go back to what I know, which is insurance? I know that he would tell me to do what makes me happy. I know that in my heart. He would tell me to do what makes me happy. Insurance no longer makes me happy, even though I spent over 40 years in that industry. And I think why I'm feeling the way I am, it's so very different than how my life was before the loss of my husband. Mornings would be getting me ready, my lunch ready, feed the animals, get Gerald's meds and his lunch set up for the day, get his breakfast. I'd drive about 45 minutes to work, go through the day. I'd work through lunch most times. And Gerald had to take medications at a certain time. And that meant on certain medicines, he had to do it on an empty stomach, so he would have to eat dinner at a certain time. So I would rush home. It would take me more than 45 minutes to get home, sometimes an hour, hour and a half, due to traffic. And I would have to make something for him to eat for dinner if I hadn't done during the day by 5 o'clock. So I'm out the door by 6:45 or so, because I was work at 6:30 and I'm home by 5. Some days I made it, some days I didn't. In the evenings, it was looking after his meds, his stability, and his movement was getting more and more limited. But I digress from what I was going to say. He would be proud of me, but I think he would also question why I'm doing this. What's the purpose? What am I doing? What do I hope to get out of this? What is the purpose? Well, the answer to that has several layers. First, talking about my husband's death helps me heal. This is not my talking about is not to help anyone heal but me. I can tell stories of his crazy sense of humor, or how good he was at cooking and made the best smoked cheese I've ever tasted. I get to share stories we created together for 41 years. But at the same time, I don't want to go back being that person stuck at a desk for 8 hours doing a job I no longer have any desire to do. So I talk, sometimes better than others. I talk about how painful losing someone is. I talk about the depression I went into, and I'm not fully out of yet. I talk about what it was like to go to the grocery store for the first time after his passing. I talk about all the things that come to mind. But today, the Lord has laid on my heart to talk about what I'm doing now. As hard as it is to say out loud, because it is painful, but me, as well as you, have a chance to start right now, this very minute, to live your dream. Not the combined dream of you and your spouse. It's your dream. Find out what makes you happy. Find the one thing you can sit down and work on for hours, and it's a pleasure, not a burden. And that pleasure is part of a gift that God gave you. Now is the time to take your talents, your gifts, and see how you can impact the world by serving others with your gift. Take some time this week and write down what you dreamed you would be when you grew up, and how it changed throughout your years in school and college and after you got married. And I bet it changed when you got married. Has your dream changed? Has it taken your talent or gift away from you? Now is the time to really dig deep and find that one thing that you love to do and explore how you can grow off of that. Let your spouse be so proud of Let your spouse be so proud of what you have been able to do, how accomplished you have become. When I get to heaven, I don't want God to ask me what I did with my talents and gifts he gave me and have to tell him I hid them away and did not use them all. That would be so sad. So find yours. Find a way to use them. If your gift is a love of reading, then you can volunteer at schools or be a tutor to help children that need help learning to read. If you're not ready for that, then by all means, you need to take your time. You'll know when you're ready. Our families many times and our culture tells us to move forward, try to set a time limit on our morning. I'm here to tell you that it's different from everyone. Some things I wish, this is some things I wish you would do this week. Get a journal. At the top of the page, write today's date. Write what is on your heart. It can be one sentence or several paragraphs. Try to do this daily, but list it at least one, more if you can, items that you're grateful for. Examples, I got to work with no accidents. Someone brought donuts to work today. The rain has stopped for a few days so the yards can dry out. I really like the color of this shirt that my sister gave me. I'm grateful I have a sister. Grateful for anything you have. You can always find something to be grateful for. Start with maybe one word, then tomorrow 2, the next 3, until you're up to 10 to 12 grateful items you're writing down a day. Different ones. Just anything. This will help you get your mind off of your pain and start seeing that there are so many things around you that you are blessed with, and God is still watching over you. He's still here, and you still have a purpose because you are still here. And thank you for letting me read this today. Like I say, I don't know. It's not a trance, but I get in something and I just go there and do what the Lord's telling me to do, and this is one of them. So thank you for joining me today. Again, this has been Cheryl Stevens with my podcast, Back to Living. There's Life After Loss. You can reach me via email at champagnebeautybycheryl@gmail.com or message me on Facebook or Instagram by the same name, which is Champagne Beauty by Cheryl. At the top of my Facebook post also you will find a calendar that if you would like to be on my podcast, I would love to interview you, be able to talk to you, or you just get on and tell us about you and what you're going through. And we can help go through and see how we can help you start living your best, your champagne life. Also, join me back here tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. Tracy Smith Randall will be interviewing me and promoting a book coming out in December. I'll be talking about that because I have been asked to put together a few tips and just be, 5, 6, 7 tips in this book. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit, give you a little bit of preview, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you for joining me today, and have a blessed Thursday. It's November, my birthday month. I'm excited. So everyone be careful today. Have a blessed day, and I will talk to you tonight. Bye.